welcome to the latest episode of Lean in Leander. I'm your host, Andrew Naudine, and with me today is a gentleman I am getting to know, but I've had a couple conversations with Mr. Kent Huntsman. Kent, thanks for joining me today. I appreciate you taking some time. What we're here for is something that I just found extremely interesting, and I thought this would be a great thing to highlight here in the state of Leander, as well as the greater county of Wilco, the greater Austin area, central Texas, right? So we're going a little bit beyond the borderline, the 39 here in Leander, but that's okay for this one. I was invited to an event a few weeks ago at the Crossover, which, if you know, that's technically in Cedar Park, but we call it Leander, about this wonderful, wonderful effort. It's a giving tradition. It's from a group like the World, and it's a giving machine. So it's literally a vending machine for contributions. It's a tangible, community-driven experience, and that's what I really, really liked about it. I love this model. I love the impact that it could potentially have for communities, and specifically highlighting some of the associated groups that are with this. It's just a wonderful, wonderful way to allow people to really get into the spirit of the holidays, really start to, have that option for that volunteer spirit and that contributing spirit. We all talk about that a lot. I just wish I knew what to do, right? And this answers that question. So, Kent, I appreciate you coming on today. Let's start chatting about this. So, what are the origins of this concept? Like, where did this come from? I think we were talking earlier, this is technically the second year in Austin, but your first year kind of organizing it. But what's the genesis of this? Where does it come from?
Yeah, great. Well, first of all, let me just say, Andrew, thank you so much for having us on and highlighting the giving machines this year, because we are thrilled to have the machines here in the area. We really look forward to the impact that they'll have. So let me just respond to your question. That back in probably 2016, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints continued its tradition of encouraging members of the church to celebrate the Christmas season, the birth of the Savior and His life, by doing small acts of kindness for those in need. And in 2016, they sort of branded that initiative as Light the World. Let's light the world by doing these small acts of kindness to those who may need a little assistance. In 2017, the church introduced this concept of a giving machine. Again, a way to do a small act of kindness for someone in need. And they began to place these machines in various cities. And as you described, the giving machine is simply a vending machine with a twist. Instead of going up and purchasing a product that you take from the machine and walk away with, the giving machines give you an opportunity to approach the machine, see a variety of nonprofit organizations represented in the machine, with a variety of different needs at different price points, and those who wish can make a contribution to those organizations. And so instead of walking away with something, you simply walk away with the sense that I've just done a small and simple thing to bless somebody else's life that I'll probably never meet. Could be here locally, could be someone that lives across the world. 100% of the monies contributed through the giving machine go to the charities, and the church covers all of the overhead costs associated with the program. So in a nutshell, that's what these giving machines are.
Again, I coming from a sales background, the corporate world, if you will, for lack of better terms. This is such a good idea because it's so simple. And that's what struck me. I was like, wow, what a great, great concept. Because typically, and I'd say this probably applies to the majority of people, right? There's always the thought, what can I do? Well, I should have, and oh man, I had a chance to, or whatever the individual feels, right? And by simplifying it, or really kind of, you're making it almost like a point of purchase, right? It becomes almost. What's the word? I'm struggling for words here right now, but it's an intuitive process for people to want to give. People want to help. I think our human condition is one that we want to aid our fellow man. We want to be helpful, but it's finding those opportunities, right? And with so many distractions in our modern world, it becomes more and more difficult. You truly, truly have to be intentional. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? But but that's 5%, right? That's 5% of the people who are that intentional, that go get involved, and whether it's with their local a religious organization, or if they're more socially oriented, or whatever it is, right? There's this need, this human condition to find your tribe almost, right? And that translates to contributions and charitable giving and all that kind of stuff. And people are philanthropic by their very nature. And if it's $5, if it's $500, they want to. It's what they can afford to, because it gives you a really good feeling. It's a good sense of, I've done something, I've made a difference, and even if it's just a little difference. I mean, honestly, it's even the desire or the drive to, if you have some cash on you, and there's maybe someone on the street that needs or is asking for help, you try to do that, right? Generally speaking, I think people are inclined that way. Is what I'm trying to say. So again, with the seasonal context here and just that community value that this brings, I just felt compelled, literally, like I was at your luncheon and I'm like, I have got to find a way to be able to highlight this, because it's such a good idea. And to your point, it hits on multiple nonprofits. So it's not one specific organization, and you can find, you will be moved to contribute where you feel your impact would be felt, right? And that kind of ties into that consumer orientation that we have as humans, at least here in the United States. Like in the U.S., it's all about consumerism and that kind of process. So again, just the ideation here, bringing these two things together, I was just flabbergasted that someone had done that, and I'm like, what a great idea. So the machines themselves will be located at the crossover, which 1717 Scottsdale Drive, over in Cedar Park, Leander. I mean, just depending on who you're talking to, right?
Exactly.
We're not going to take anything away from our great neighbors in Cedar Park. I mean, it's a wonderful facility. I've gone to the crossover for several different functions. My buddy David plays hockey there.
There you go.
So there's some really, really nice things that come out of that facility, and it's a very, very a nice thing to have in our community. And you will get the traffic. There'll be people there, right? So that's fantastic. And again, I think you kick this off on November 18th is like the grand opening for those terms.
That's right. So November 18th at 10:30, we're going to have what we call a launch event. We're going to cut a ribbon. We're going to celebrate. We're going to sing some songs and have some music. And the first donation will be made on that morning.
So you already got somebody lined up for that?
We're in the process. Yeah, we got.
So is that a little? Can I hint? Can I kind of dig a little bit there? Who is it?
We're just going to leave it out there as a hanger, so
it could be a notable individual, is what you're saying.
It could be.
Be. All right, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So one of the things, and the crossover, I just have to tip my hat to Adam Powell and his team out there. They have been more than accommodating and more helpful in this whole process than we could have ever imagined. And so we are just so thrilled to be there at their facility. Because you've been there, that place is constantly a beehive of activity with, from young to old, families, individuals, everybody of every stripe is there at the crossover. And that's one of the things that we love about being there, because you were talking earlier about the philanthropic process that individuals go through. And you know, I think about my wife and I, as we look back when we had children at home, you know, we would sit down and say, okay, let's cut a check to this organization or that organization. The kids really weren't involved in that process, right? Mm-hmm. Well, now with the giving machines, we're aware of families whose children right now today are doing jobs to earn money so that when the machines are open, they can take their own money to the machines and do something for someone in need. And so it really takes the giving process and makes it a unique, fun experience, not just for the philanthropists in the families, but for everybody in the family. All age groups can go, and the items in the machines are priced at price points from, you know, $5 or $10 to maybe as much as $150, so that anybody can participate. Mm-hmm. Child can do some chores around the house, mm-hmm. make $10, and then go and do for somebody else. And what, you know, what a great blessing in that young person's life to learn early on that that's sort of what the ethos ought to be mm-hmm. in their lives.
I love that. I love that. I think that, you know, you can have the argument, we were not going to get into it, but, you know, that's a piece that's missing today, I think, is
Sure.
that civic engagement. And really, you know, parents are again, there's so many distractions, there's so many things to do, and, you know, you know, when my children were younger, you know, we were involved in the scouting and that kind of stuff. So there was always opportunity to be able to do that. But what I love about what you just said was now, and this generation has a tendency to do that from my mm-hmm. read, right? These younger kids have this desire to do something bigger than themselves. You see it on TV all the time. And I know those are the highlights, and the kids with the lemonade stands who raise millions of dollars and that kind of stuff, right? You know, obviously there's probably some, you know, Nepo baby stuff going on there, and there's someone who has a lot of money who's giving them a lot of money. But what I love about what you're talking about here is that, like, just average Joe kid, right, or Jane kid, whatever, can put together a small effort and raise, I don't know, $50, right, whatever it might be, and then they can go and take this action, which is so much more impactful for them, right? The lessons learned there, and the opportunity to feel like, you know, the accomplishment, and all of the good vibes that you get from that, and the endorphins that child is going to experience. That's right. Again, it's an accomplishment, and it's something that is selfless, right? So I love that idea. I obviously, this is something that you guys are going to do on an annual basis, and you know, to whatever degree that you all watching this today, you know, obviously show up anytime between November 18th and December 7th, and find these machines and contribute. That's the point here. You know, hey, this is an opportunity for you at multiple levels. You don't have to have a whole lot of money, and I know things are tough right now, and there's a lot going on in this world, but you can make a difference. And make a difference for yourself and your community by, you know, these little efforts. It's the goodness that you're putting out into the universe by doing these things. So I definitely encourage you to do that. But think about this for next year, right? Because if your child is someone that you want to maybe give that impetus to, or give them that focus, this is a great thing to be able to do that with, right? I love that idea. I really, really do. So let's talk a little bit about you, and then the donors and volunteers, the organizations that are involved with this, because there are multiple organizations. So CARE, Special Olympics, Brighter Days Ministries, BIG, Heart Gift, Hope Alliance, Foster Village. We're going to play here some videos from all of those organizations to give you a little sense of what they do, and then we'll come back and we'll actually talk about the organization as a whole. Okay, so we'll be right back. Check these out. This is something you should watch.
strivings and triumphs, will say to all the people of all the nations torn by ancient feuds and violence and starvation, that there is another way. For you are the peacemakers, competitive but not envious, determined but not angry, teachers of the profound truth that we can try to do our best without calling on what is worse in the human character. Each time you run and jump and lift, you will say to others everywhere, come to our world, where we are free to choose our friends, free to choose our sports. Come to our world, where we speak from our souls, as we demand equality from our legislators and our educators, for we are the peacemakers. Come to our world where we compete as friends, not enemies. Finally, to the athletes, I say to you that within these walls there is light, your light, and we see for an instant what life on this earth might be. That we could help each other, that we could have victories without victims, that there could be peace.
The mission of Hope Alliance is so important and sits close to my heart because I am a former victim and a survivor now. They helped me in a time where I didn't know how to help myself.
Like we say, most people don't know about Hope Alliance until you need Hope Alliance. But I think a lot of those survivors are very afraid to come forward, and they're very afraid to have their cases heard in a courtroom.
So Hope Alliance, I would call it it's a gem. I feel like we're able to provide a resource to somebody that we used to not have before. That's a group that can provide some type of advocacy for them, legal advice, and most importantly, a support network.
A lot of people don't go to receive help because they don't know what to ask, and they don't even know how to ask for help. So I think it's very important to notate how incredibly trained and how incredibly brilliant they are at helping guide their clients into safety and creating healing and hope for the future.
It's really important that we fund organizations like Hope Alliance because, like I've said, they really fill a void that doesn't exist. You know, when I took office in January of 2017, I realized that the only community partner that can help adults and families that have been impacted by domestic violence and sexual violence in Williamson County is Hope Alliance.
There's only so much I can provide as an officer on the street.
I can't even describe the emotions that I felt because I felt seen and heard for the first time. And I wouldn't be sitting here in front of you today, honestly, if it wasn't for their help.
Hearing the words your child has a life-threatening heart defect is devastating. The fear, anxiety, and desperate desire to save your child is overwhelming. For over 1 million families around the world, this is their reality. And in fact, a congenital heart defect diagnosis is more prevalent than childhood cancer. Worse, 90% of families hearing this devastating news have no access to the required life-saving medical care. And without help, these children will die. It's heartbreaking and no doubt feels helpless. Where a child lives should not determine whether they live. HeartGift is a lifeline for families worldwide, offering more than just medical care. It restores hope. HeartGift transforms fear into relief and despair into joy. We don't just give life to a child, we give their family back their peace of mind, freeing them from the constant worry and heartbreak of an uncertain future. With a single surgery and minimal follow-up care, these children go on to live full and healthy lives. HeartGift's mission thrives through a global community of medical professionals, hospitals, volunteers, and generous donors coming together to ensure that every life-saving surgery is provided at no cost to families. Together, we're building a future where no child dies from a treatable heart defect.
Foster care is a broken solution to a broken reality. Most children are placed in foster care due to deeply traumatic circumstances that are rooted in poverty, domestic violence, and generational adversity. The one consistent villain in all of this is isolation. Families in crisis who are lacking safe and stable support systems. At Foster Village, our mission is to break through that isolation and create a village of support to these vulnerable kids and families. We do this by equipping caregivers with all of the essential items they need for children when they're placed in their home. Beds, car seats, clothing, all at our resource centers where it's provided by the community. We connect them with ongoing therapeutic support services, and we advocate for community engagement beyond the system.
My name is Alec, and I am made in God's image.
God made me how he made me the way I am.
Created with intention.
I'm Kirk. I'm Darla.
My name is Eric Clark. Hi, I'm Neil.
I'm Emma.
I'm Beth Watkins.
I am Sarah Brown.
And I am Rachel.
I'm CB.
I'm Christopher.
Jordan.
Hello, my name is Andrew Hudson. I love to work.
I'm Tracy and I work in the cafe.
Hi guys, it's Cameron. I work here at Big.
I am a skilled glazer and potter and employee in the retail shop.
We make beautiful products.
I'm an artist.
I am an artist. Artisan.
I am a gardener. I am a joy.
I am vulnerable.
I am cherished.
And I'm creative. I'm valuable. I'm talented. I love Jesus. I love time travel.
I have a great sense of humor.
I'm a jokester.
I'm a George Strait expert.
I like Wonder Woman.
I'm a wonder. I'm an excellent dancer and I can break dance. See?
Yes.
A lot of us work hard here, and I get a paycheck.
Make money and pay bills.
I am independent woman and I love work ethic.
And the staff here are so amazing, and I just love it here.
I'm a citizen of Big.
I am a citizen of Big.
I got a big.
I'm a citizen of BIG, Brooklyn in Georgetown. I am proud to be a citizen of Big.
I am a citizen of Big.
I'm a citizen at Big.
And a real good one.
I'm a game changer.
Game changer.
I am changing the way the world views adults with special needs.
I can't be Boston. Big is awesome.
We are family.
We are Big!
That's what God wanted me to be at Big for the rest of my life.
about 2006. We were living in Lubbock, Texas at the time, and I actually lost my job, and so we were out of work. And while I was out of work, we threw ourselves into the food pantry ministry at the church that we were working at, attending there. And after 7 months, we found work down here, so God blew all the doors open. We moved down here, and we found ourselves at Leander Church of Christ. I remember sitting down with the pulpit minister and asking him about doing some sort of outreach together. And he said, I was praying for 7 months for somebody to come here. And so it became very obvious that this was where God intended us and the work that he wanted. And so that was kind of the beginnings of the idea of doing something. And so about the summer of 2007, we actually started a pantry, and it started out extremely small. And by 2011, we had like 6 to 10 families a week we were helping. So it didn't take off with gangbusters. But we partnered with the Central Texas Food Bank in 2011 and opened the first night with them. We had about 22 families, and it's just grown since then. Today we're hundreds of families a week. So.
I think one of the reasons Ezra and I felt a need for the ministry or our heart for the ministry is we've been on that side. We've been where people dropped groceries off on our doorstep because Ezra was out of work and we needed them. And so that gives us a opportunity when people go, you don't know what I feel like, we can say, yes, we do. You know, we've been there.
Just to be able to put a smile on someone's face because you don't know what they're going through is heartwarming. When you're walking through the parking lot and you're talking with the kids, you know, and you're giving them, you know, water or something to snack on while they're waiting, especially when it's hot, you know, just to distract them, even the parents or even people that aren't here with kids, you know, just to be able to distract them from the hardship that they're going through and be able to put a smile on their face, even just for that 2 minutes, you know, is a blessing, you know, because that's 2 minutes they don't have to think about what the pain that they're going through or the hardship that they're going through. So you know, that's what keeps me going. It's just being able to give back and do something for the community.
Christ did a lot of his good work feeding people. We're very fortunate that we're able to do what we do. Man, we don't have time. We're so busy. Life is passing us by. We always make time for things that are important to us.
Being able to practice what we learned in classes. You know, typically you go to church and you sit through lessons, you go to Bible class, you sit through a lesson, and here's the opportunity to actually get out and do something with your brothers and sisters. And it's, you know, it's something different every week, whether it's, you know, there's a client that their car breaks down and you have an opportunity to help a need right then outside of what we're doing with the food, you know, and seeing people come together and do that. It's just watching. We got volunteers from preteens all the way up into their 80s and 90s, and it's just cool to watch all the different people and how they interact together and help the community. So it's not always about just helping the clients. It's also about, you know, what we do as a church together with our brothers and sisters and being able to spend time with them doing something in the community. So.
It's not, this ministry has nothing to do with Ezra and I. It has all to do with him. I mean, we wouldn't be where we are without God. And we sure hope people know that because, oh my God, we just couldn't have grown this without him. He gets all the glory. Every bit of it.
So now you have an opportunity to see what these organizations are about. Let's talk a little bit about these organizations.
Sure.
So how is that process organized? Is there a selection committee? I mean, how do you guys go about finding these guys?
Excellent question. So Lindy is my wife, and Lindy and I were asked to serve as the city leads for the Austin area for the Giving Machines back in January of this year. and just full transparency, Lindy and I have never been to a giving machine before.
The irony.
So we were not able to go to the machines in Austin last year, nor have we been in an area of the country where the machines have been in the past. And so this was all brand new for us. And the first two tasks that we really needed to take care of was, one, selecting the organizations, the 5 local nonprofits that would be included in the machines. We'd had some people who had been doing some of the legwork on that ahead of time. And so we were able to sit down early on and look at applications from probably 8 or 9, 10 different nonprofit organizations. There was a very strict set of standards that those organizations had to meet. That was the very first checklist that we did. Do they meet these standards? Great fiduciary responsibilities, providing services that are widespread and impactful in the community, those kinds of things. Mm-hmm. We went through those applications and in fairly quick order identified the 5 local organizations that people will find in machines today. Next year, there will be 5 new organizations. So organizations are in the machines for a year, and then the next year, a new set of organizations will come in. Now, they'll be able to come back and reapply in future years, but we don't keep the same organization in the machine in consecutive years.
Okay.
There are enough nonprofits out there with great needs, and we want to be sure that we're doing all we can to provide service to a broad audience. And then the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints identifies 2 international charities to be included in our machines, and we're not involved in that selection process. And again, we were just thrilled to learn this year that it's CARE USA mm-hmm. and the Special Olympics, and with the Special Olympics and the crossover kind of compatibility, it was just wonderful.
Serendipity there,
so,
right?
So that was the first big step, and again, we've had interactions with these nonprofits over the months, and they were all there represented at our luncheon back in the beginning of October, and their services are just absolutely incredible. They the things that they do for our community and for the people in need. We just couldn't be more proud of the things that they're doing. So that was step 1. Step 2 was finding a venue, and we talked to a lot of places. There are some wonderful venues here in the community, and when we were introduced, in fact, it was Mayor Jim in Cedar Park who introduced us to Adam Powell at the crossover. And again, Adam and his team have just been wonderful. They decided to work with us, and since that time, it's just been a wonderful relationship.
Yeah, no, that really is a good crew over there at the crossover. I've had some interaction with them. We had talked about having them on the podcast about a year ago. Uh-huh. I want to say it just never kind of worked out. Timing and scheduling is what it is, Yeah, and then Jim down in Cedar Park, I'm really happy that he was able to make that connection for you guys, because then that offered us an opportunity for me to, tertiarily get involved.
Right.
But yeah, I can tell you at the luncheon, and I'm a big crybaby anyway, but I was having a hard time kind of just keeping it together at the luncheon, because the videos that you just saw, that's literally what they played at the luncheon, and so you can kind of get a sense of what these organizations are really doing in your community, even if you're not overtly aware of them, right? And that's what's really key about that. So when I looked at this list, I'm like, I've had opportunity. I donated to CARE for a year. I mean, I was involved with that organization a couple of years ago. Actually, when I moved, now it was after I moved to Leander, but they were at Petco one day, and they caught me. I was moved by their story, and I decided to make that part of my philanthropy. I worked with Special Olympics in Houston, Texas. Right. When they were doing some athletic events there. I was in the hospitality industry at the time, and so there was that exposure. So I was like, okay, I know these organizations. Hope Alliance is here in Leander, I believe. I'm not sure if they're done with their facility. I know they had identified a place to be, and I'm not 100% sure where that is in that process. I meant to look that up before we got here. But I know that our chief is involved with that organization as well, right?
Right.
And then Big, they're the guys out in Georgetown.
That's right.
And I literally just stumbled on them one afternoon. My wife and I like to occasionally go out and do some antiquing, and we just randomly, we saw this, and I guess we saw that they have like a floral shop, if I remember correctly, right? And that's what drew us in, and we went to look. And then when I saw what they were doing, I was like, wow, this is a really amazing facility, and what a wonderful, wonderful thing to do for that segment of our community, right? It was just fantastic. So, again, that cross-section, civic engagement, nonprofit, you've got international opportunities. Right. So again, as an individual approaching this vending machine, even if you know nothing about it, right? If you take, I don't know, you would probably take it that much time to choose between Dr. Pepper and Diet Coke, right?
That's right.
So, I mean, in that period of time, you can literally, find this opportunity to be able to be involved in your community and contribute to these wonderful, wonderful organizations who really, I mean, just the idea of lighting up the world, I think, wow, that's a really, really great way to do that. Yeah. So, the physical setup there at the Crossroads, where do you know where these machines are at this point? I know you guys were planning to get stuff set up for the 18th, but where would they be located? If I go to the Crossover, where can I find
So if you go to the Crossover, one of the machines will be in the lobby for the ice rinks.
Okay.
So if you're on the north side of the building and you go in the main entrance, the ice rinks are right there to the left. One of the machines will be right there, be up against the glass looking into the first ice rink. The other machine will be in that same general area, but down by the volleyball courts.
Okay.
And so down at the other end of that big long hallway in that lobby, not the main hallway that takes you out to the food trucks, but going east, I guess, in their building to where the volleyball courts are. Another machine will be right there. And so we'll have two machines. They will be decorated. They are bright red. There will be, I'm sure, decorations and lights around them. Nobody will miss them. Mm-hmm. And as you say, the Crossover has so much foot traffic. We'll have signage up and available guiding people to them, but they'll be easy to find.
Oh, that's great. I mean, because ease of use is always something that works really, really well with the convenience orientation that Americans have as a default.
That's right.
Right? I mean, if it takes any effort, it's like, I don't know if I want to do that, right? But this sounds like they'll be really easy to find. Outside of the engagement with the machine, is there anything in this program that if someone sees this and they're like, you know what, I really want to get involved a little bit more, what can I do? Is there any opportunity for people to do that in this interaction?
Yeah, absolutely. And so the Crossover's open from like 6 in the morning until midnight, right? It's almost 24/7.
Right.
And so we will have hosts at the machines. So volunteers will be there to assist people who have questions or need assistance with the machine from about 9 or 10 in the morning until 9 or 10 at night. And so if there are individuals who want to work with us and staff some of our volunteer shifts, they can reach out and we'd be happy to include them. Each evening when the Crossover doesn't already have an activity going on, we'll try to have entertainment, music, vocal, instrumental, things going on around the machines. Around both machines, we'll have tables set up where children can come and color and hang out and enjoy just some time there at the facility. Obviously, there's wonderful ice skating available there. There are food trucks out back. And so really an individual or a family could really make an evening of it to go out and just enjoy an evening at the Crossover.
Yeah, and I love that you're picking up on that and leveraging that. I think that's great. I didn't realize that you're actually going to have I would almost call that interactive because you're literally there, which is fantastic. because I didn't even realize that was going to be part of the way that you were approaching this. But that's a great engagement point as well. Just, because there's kids. I see it all the time. Anytime I'm there, again, I'll see, shout out David, when they're playing hockey, you
Right.
just see the kids running around and kind of, I'm not saying that they're killing time because they're kids and
Right.
they got stuff to do, but here you're actually bringing them in, and that gives that extra opportunity for engagement. Wow, I mean, I didn't realize you guys were doing that, so that's really cool. So there would be some volunteer opportunities there if anybody were so
Absolutely.
inclined.
Absolutely.
Okay, fantastic. Good to know. Let's see what else. So this is year 2 in Austin, and we talked about this earlier when you and I were coming in. The machines are at the crossover, and that literally is the Austin location.
That's
so
right.
if you are outside of the Leander Cedar Park area, maybe in Austin, or I don't know, Pflugerville, or
Really-
Liberty Hill, wherever you're out here, this is where you need to go to kind of see this.
Really easy drive
Yeah.
to Leander.
Yep.
And
no tolls.
There
Well,
you go.
no, there are some
you
tolls
can,
on 183.
You can,
That's true.
yeah. So, but everybody gets to choose,
Right,
And
right.
So anyway, no, we really felt like this was just the perfect location. It is generally central to people. There's good roadways to get you here from north and south.
There's a couple
south
of
and
car
east and west.
dealerships around there too, right? So you can
Uh-huh,
actually
that's right.
go check out one of the car dealerships and come over to the crossover.
There you go.
You can see the giant Firefly rocket, right? They've got one staged right outside of their headquarters, which is directly across the street from
That's
the
right.
crossover, right?
That's
so
right.
if you're a science nerd, you can
go walk
actually
around.
you can go walk around one of those rockets. It's really pretty
Absolutely.
cool.
Absolutely.
It's really pretty cool. Actually, if you're ever there and you have an opportunity, right in the lobby during normal business hours, they've got one of their engines that's hanging right above the, at least it was last time I was there, hanging above the receptionist's desk. Right? It's just giant.
Wow.
And it's amazing. It's such an amazing thing to see. And I love what they're doing over there. Not to get off topic, but I love what they're doing with that. And they just recently reinvested in Cedar Park, and they're going to have a larger facility now, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that. I'm sure Mayor Jim, I'm sure he was happy about that
I'm
too.
sure he is. Sure he is.
So so where I was going with that, and I kind of got off track, so that's my fault. So this is the year 2. So last year, and I'm assuming that we talked about a little bit earlier, that the machines kind of move around from city to city. Like you have multiple cities where the machines will be located. So tell me about that again. Like how does that generally work? Like the machines in Austin will end up somewhere else afterwards, right?
Right. So the machines in Austin will be with us for the 3 weeks. December 7th is the last day that you can come and make a gift at the machines in Austin. On December the 8th, those machines will be loaded in a truck and they'll head to Waco, and they'll spend the next 3 weeks in Waco. And then from there, they'll go back to Salt Lake City where all of the machines are stored. The machines, last year, there were approximately 107 or so machines, I think, worldwide. This year, there's 121 machines or 130 machines worldwide. So the church is continuing to expand. This year, I think in some cities, the church is actually exploring kind of a kiosk look for the machines, similar to what you'd find in McDonald's if you were going in and ordering your meal. I like the old-fashioned machines because when you make your selection and pay for it, a card actually drops down into the bottom of the machine, not to be taken away, but you can just see what people have invested in, what they have contributed to, which is kind of fun. And so there is a little interaction, even though you're not taking something away. And so
what do you do if something sells out? Like, there's a limit to the number of cards you can have in there. Are you guys replenishing that on the daily, or do you let it go ahead and sell out and then,
No, if it gets close to the last card for an item, then we'll open the machine up, we'll pull the cards out of the bottom of the machine, and we'll put them back in. Right. So there will always be an opportunity to contribute to all of the needs.
And the reason I said that, I was kind of hedging there so I could get us to the next topic. So the actual revenue generation, right? The contribution totals, right? What did that look like last year when you guys kind of wrapped this project up, and what are your goals for this year? What are you trying to achieve here? Because I'm sure there's some intent there as well.
Right. There is. Although I'll tell you, we don't set specific monetary goals. I'm sure the nonprofits probably do, and as you know, we encourage them to encourage their donor bases to come and use the machines as an opportunity to make their annual contributions. Our goal in this initiative is really to bring individuals and communities together to participate collectively in something that's good, something that's part of the greater good. And then we also part of this is helping us, even though you're not going to see it on the machines or anything, but this is really the second great commandment in action, right? To love thy neighbor, and this is one really excellent way to show that love for your neighbor. And so I can tell you that since the giving machine concept started back in 2017 through last year, over $50 million has been contributed to support a variety of projects. I don't know exactly what the machines brought in Austin last year, and I probably in a year won't be able to tell you what they brought in Austin again, because I think really my mind's going to be wrapped around the experiences, right? The kids that you meet who have worked to earn some money and come. And if I can tell you a quick story about a village in Tanzania and how they were impacted, it's this impact that we're looking for, right? And so this is back in 2020, so the machines weren't here in Austin at the time, but in 2020 there was a machine that had an opportunity to buy chickens. You could buy 3 chickens. And I don't know the dollar amount. It was probably $10 to $15, right? And so you buy 3 chicks for this rural village in Tanzania. Well, during that season, there were 90 gifts made. And so, in essence, 90 women in this village each received 3 chickens. So 270 chickens go to this village, little chicks. And these women were entrepreneurial and had a plan for what they were going to do with their chicks. And of course, COVID shut things down, and so there was no way to travel to this village to kind of measure the success of this initiative. Well, in 2022, when travel opened up again to go to Tanzania, a group went, and the 270 chicks had become almost 5,000 chickens in this little village. Mm-hmm. These women were now obviously harvesting, 5,000 plus eggs on a regular basis that were feeding their families. Mm-hmm. They were able to sell them to earn some income to provide for their families. And so these 90 families, their trajectory was completely changed. Mm-hmm. Because some individuals put a small donation into the giving machine, and that resulted in these 270 chickens. And so I just think that it's that impact. Mm-hmm. Those are the stories that are most meaningful to me, and I think hopefully will motivate some people to come. In our machines this year for care, you can come and buy a goat.
Okay.
But imagine a family who doesn't have means to get milk, means to do whatever. All of a sudden now they get a goat. Mm-hmm. Things change for them, right? Mm-hmm. They have a little more nutrition in their home. That goat can become 2 goats or mm-hmm. 3 goats, mm-hmm. right? And so, anyway, it's wonderful to see those stories.
No, I think I appreciate you bringing it back to the focus point, right? Because again, it is, maybe it's $5, and we're in this country, we're privileged from that perspective, in that, a majority of the population in the United States. I'm not saying everybody, because we have our own issues, and there are areas of need and great need, and I don't want to discount that by any stretch of the imagination. Am I saying that? But typically the people who are going to be at the crossroads are, doing a little bit better than, needing to worry about having a goat, right?
That's right.
That's right. But the fact that I love the story because the impact of that is what I call, it's a force multiplier, right? I mean, and when you get into efficiencies and operational efficiencies and stuff like that, it's my world. That's what you're looking for.
Right.
You're looking for those force multipliers. So the 270 chickens end up being 5,000 chickens, and countless. I don't know how many eggs a chicken will lay, but it's just that impact, that multiplier, and over time, that that story's better because you didn't see it. Right. That story's better because you couldn't go the next year and see. You didn't see them at, let's say 1,000 chickens, right? So you
or
saw
even 500,
right? I mean, this was a generation, and that's a generational change.
That's right.
Right? That's not just going to affect those 90 women. It's going to affect the children of those 90 women.
That's right.
And again, a living example of the things that you can do to make a difference. I think it's fabulous because a lot of time you lose sight of that, right? You really don't. You don't see it, you don't feel it, it's not tangible, right? Which again kind of brings me back to, I love the idea of this vending machine because it is a tangible action, right?
Absolutely.
You feel like you're doing something, right?
Absolutely.
And we've moved away from, the days of, you talked about it earlier. You used to write a check, right? I mean, that was still a physical action, right? And now it's, I'm on my phone and I click a button and there's nothing there, right? So this feels a lot more tangible to me, and I think the community gets those results from that. And I just, again, I cannot emphasize how great of an idea I really, really find this to be.
Yeah.
And I think it gives people ideation for maybe some other opportunities to use a similar approach. And it's really important for me to highlight this for another reason, because what really attracted to me this, at least initially, it was like the thought of this, and then you proved it out, and I was like, wow, okay, that's great. I talk about this, about being collaborative within your community. And there's always going to be a few people and those core individuals who are really trying to do good or change or whatever it might be. But they oftentimes don't find the support mechanisms to be able to make the type of impact that they would like to, and then they move away from that, and maybe they find something else or whatever. But I think that by bringing together, and this is what I love, is that you've brought together multiple nonprofits here, right? So they're all aiding each other, even if not directly. It's an indirect aid, right? And bringing together those forces with one principle, guiding principle, if you will, Light the World and this giving machine, it allows them to collaborate with each other in a greater and execute things on a greater scale than they could individually.
That's right.
Right? And I think that's something that's key in the way that we approach our communities. I think that's something that can translate to activity even here in Leander. If you are a nonprofit and you might be, smallish, or you're looking for opportunities to engage with other nonprofits, there's ways to do that. There's ways, if you can find that mutually beneficial point, which in this case is the machine, right? It's helpful to everybody, and everybody profits from that. That's right. Profit's not the right word, but
benefits.
It benefits. There you go. Much better word. Much better word.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, I just think this is great. I'm really, really happy to be able to highlight it here. Let's talk about how to visit and participate again. I know we've talked about it, but this starts on November 18th.
November 18th at 10:30. We're going to launch. We're going to kick off this giving season with.
Is it Hulk Hogan? Is Hulk Hogan coming? No, he's passed. It can't be Hulk Hogan. Is it a wrestler?
It's not. I can confirm that it's not a wrestler.
All right.
So, but we'll kick off this season with and everyone's welcome to come. This is, while we have sent out some invitations to people, all of the charities will be represented there, but this is open to everyone. So if there are families whose children are homeschooled and they're looking for a fun activity to do that day, November the 18th at 10:30, in the ice rink lobbies at the crossover. Just come and enjoy the energy of the morning. And then from November the 18th through December the 7th, which is a Sunday, every day except Thanksgiving, the machines will be available. And while we'll have hosts and volunteers there during most of the day, the machines are operational the entire time the crossover is open. And so if somebody shows up at 6 o'clock in the morning to get their skate in before work, then those machines will be there. If they want to make their gift at 6:05, they can do that. Or if they're an adult hockey player and they're staying late at night to play, they can hit the machines up at midnight if they want. And so
you heard that, boys. So the you guys are out there on the ice. Stop by here. It sounds like it would be like maybe one beer, guys. I mean, seriously, think about it at least. Give it some thought. But again, I'm thrilled that we had the opportunity to talk, and I absolutely wish you just the largesse of success. I would love to see this. I would like to see your machines actually break, right? So where you have that much contribution that they actually break down. But no, in all seriousness, I find this to be just such a good thing, and I'm really, really happy to have had the time here with you today to be able to highlight that. And I encourage everyone, for those of you who are listening or watching the podcast, by all means, between November 18th and December 7th, find your way over to the crossover. I think not only will you have a good time, because it's a really, really nice facility, but you have an opportunity to make a contribution and be charitable, and you can do it privately. And no one's going to make a big deal about it. You can go up to the machines. Again, it's like buying a soda. And you will get benefit from that, and the world will receive a benefit from that. So use that opportunity to put a little kindness out into the universe. We need that right now because there's a lot of trepidation and stress in our world today. Not that there isn't always, but it seems a little bit more pronounced, right?
No,
so,
absolutely.
and these are ways to make a difference in that. It's called the butterfly effect, and you don't even know what this would necessarily do, but the butterfly is going to flap its wings here, and hopefully we see a storm of kindness and giving coming from that. So, Ken, thank you so much for
Andrew,
your time.
Thank you. I can't thank you enough for the opportunity to come and visit with you and talk about the giving machines.
No, it is absolutely my pleasure. And again, we're going to have some additional information on the website. This episode will have some links and stuff like that. There's a QR code that I'm going to try to work into this. So for you guys who just want to scan and go, then you'll have that type of opportunity as well. So again, I'd like to thank Kent for taking his time here. Behind the boards, Morgan, as always, helping out with getting the podcast going. He waved, by the way. And thank you all for taking some time here. I hope this episode finds you well. And hopefully we get another one in before the holidays. But if we don't, have a very, very happy Thanksgiving. And, of course, start a giving tradition during the month here. And like I said, hopefully have one more before Christmas. But if we don't, Merry Christmas to you all. So thanks a lot, Ken. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll see you out the next one. Lean in Leander was recorded at Lantern Media Studio. Produced and edited by Andrew Naughty. Music provided by Ben Sam.